Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been touting the achievement of government at the MPP's annual delegates conference. Addressing delegates at the Trade Fair Center in Accra Sunday, Dr. Bawumia explained that the Akufo-Addo administration has instituted measures that have seen the improvement of Ghana's economy through the creation of jobs and automation of business transaction mechanisms. He said the suffering has been reduced by the MPP's great policy initiatives.
We told the people of Ghana that we are going to do three broad things. We are going to stabilize the economy, we are going to reduce the suffering of our people, and we are going to transform this economy into a modern, prosperous economy. This was our contract with the people of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, what a difference 3 years of good, effective leadership can make in a country. Because after 3 years in office, just 3 years, we can say without any shadow of a doubt that we have fulfilled at least 72% of the promises that we made to the people of Ghana. We have, and listen carefully because some people didn't listen carefully. We have either delivered completely or we are delivering on 72%. And we are going to put the data out so that everybody will go promise by promise and see whether we are delivering or we have delivered. We'll put the data out. Because we have done the work, we have the data, so we'll put it out and we will see when you count the amount of promises we have delivered or are delivering, we would have chalked at least 72%. That is remarkable for any government in its first term of office. Very remarkable. And thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership in this matter. Kukuru. So, how I said we are going to stabilize the economy, reduce suffering, and transform the economy. So how have we done this? Ladies and gentlemen, we have restored economic growth to this country. Ghana today is one of the fastest growing economies in the world for 2 years in a row. Agricultural growth is increasing 8.4%. Industry growth has moved from negative to positive. Inflation is on the decline, about half what it was when we came into office. Interest rates are on the decline. And exchange rate depreciation has been tamed. I know our opponents want to say that we have not managed the exchange rate. Well, but they just are not reading the data. If you look at the data, you will know that the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when you look at the annual average depreciation of the cedi, since 1992, our government is the second best performing. The first is the government of President J.A. Kufuor during 2005 to 2008. So we have seen an average annual depreciation of our currency of 8.7%. When NDC was in power between 2013 and 2016, average annual depreciation was 18%. We had 8.7, you have 18%, and you are telling us we cannot manage it well. You must be joking. You must be joking.
You must be joking. The Vice President there. Well, my colleague Roland Walker was in town earlier to find out what members of the public make of the Vice President's declaration that the current government has managed the economy better than its predecessor.
The Vice President at the MPP's National Delegate Conference at a Trade Fair site on Sunday said the economy has been managed well by the Nana Addo-led government, and that has translated in positive inferences in the livelihoods of the ordinary Ghanaian. We're here somewhere at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange area to gauge the mood of the ordinary Ghanaian, trying to get some reactions to that statement by the Vice President. Indeed, if you look at the numbers as we have been told not only by the Statistical Service, the Ministry of Finance, and also the Bank of Ghana, the numbers look good. But what can the ordinary Ghanaian say? Let me quickly just get some thoughts. Please, what's your name, sir?
My name is Richard.
What do you do?
I'm a surveyor.
You're a surveyor. Now, the Vice President made that statement. What will be your first reaction to that about the general, based on your perspective, livelihood of the ordinary person like you? In relation to how the economy has been managed and how it's reflecting in your livelihood?
The economy, I don't know whether it has to be, you see, the government should have to know what to do about it for us. And it's not good, it's not good at all. The economy is not good at all.
When the ordinary Ghanaian says that the economy is not good, what do you people mean exactly?
Things are not going on well. And even the estimates have come, but still we haven't seen anything.
I would say I don't feel it in my pocket.
What does it mean? When we ordinary Ghanaians, we don't feel it?
We don't feel it in our pocket in the sense that there's increment in taxes and other stuffs. But when you go deep into the system, what we earn is still what we earn. Okay, and with that, at the end of the day, the expenses still goes higher than what you earn. So at the end of the day, you don't feel it in your pocket.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Kenneth.
Ken, is it that perhaps maybe our expectations as ordinary people have gone up? So if government is doing anything, we're not moved?
It's natural in the fact that if you earn less, definitely, and there's increment in prices of stuffs, definitely you feel it in your pocket. So if there's no increment in your pay or there's no increment in what you earn and there's increment in taxes and other stuff, definitely what you earn wouldn't meet up your needs for the month. So that's just basically everything.
If you look generally at the way the economy has been managed, and the benchmark that government always gives is with the John Mahama administration. 3 years, because John Mahama came in 2012, won the election, 2013 started ruling. I mean, you should have some benchmark and then some ratings. What would you say will be your commentary on that so far, compared to...
That, I can't really say much, because looking at the system, you can see that, you know, during his time, John Mahama's time, there was nothing much of increment in the system like that. So you don't actually feel it in your pockets, in quotes. But with this time, though they are doing some, you know, developmental infrastructures and other stuffs around, but you can still feel it in your pocket in the sense that...
Because you feel that the taxes are going up, and so it's reflecting on the price.
The fact that they came in with the free SHS thing, they are trying to recoup money from, you know, wherever they can. So with that, the pressure is on us. Though it's not a bad thing that they are trying to do, but the pressure is on us. So
you love free SHS, but
no, it's a good initiative, okay? Because it's very wise that your citizens be educated to some level, so that at least everybody can, you know, when you go somewhere and you are found wanting, you can do stuff for yourself. Maybe you can read, write. You know, there are some little things, basic things in life that you are supposed to be able to do. So with that, it's a go-go, but not to the extent that, you know, the pressure will be on the citizenry.
When they are talking about the economy being improved, the first thing that comes to ordinary people's mind is they want to feel it in their pockets. They want to have the impact. But I think we've not seen that. So saying that the economy has improved, I think there is more to do than to just say it.
What type of work do you do?
I work at Cocoa Board. Okay. I'm at the research department.
Okay, so now it's good that you're a research person, but at the end of the day, when ordinary Ghanaians say we're not feeling it in our pockets, what is it that they don't, let's say the salary at the end of the day is not enough for an upkeep for the month or for the period that you have targeted, etc., or the prices that maybe are on the market of goods and services are high or are not moderate? Which one is it?
Yeah, I think the prices, because gradually prices are increasing and inflation is high. And when that happens, we know that you spend more to buy something. So I think the best thing is when they say the economy is improving, then prices has to be stable. and not increasing persistently.
As a young person, and I see you as if you're fairly young, if you listen to the political rhetoric, how do you juxtapose that with what you have seen and also observed and also assessed from the lives of people around you? Either could be your relatives or maybe your parents or friends, etc., in relation to the improvement in their livelihoods?
No, I think that's been the same. That's been the same. There's not really been an improvement in their lives. So, as I said earlier, they said the economy has improved, but still we are not feeling it. Yeah.
Well, what's your name, sir?
Felix Tutu.
Okay. Felix, among all the initiatives of government, which one do you like most? You think rings positive bells in your mind?
Oh, the policies during this campaign, it talked about one district, one factory. And I think it's a way of curbing the unemployment problem in Ghana. So I might say I'm a little bit disappointed for not really fulfilling that policy.
So I'm actually not aware of how the economy is being managed. And so then me as an ordinary Ghanaian, I don't think it has had any positive impact on me because I'm not seeing anything and nothing has changed since they came. So,
is it that maybe you were expecting so much and so maybe your expectations, because they were high, then your benchmark for marking them seemed to be above board?
My expectations were not that high. I was just expecting that the lives of ordinary Ghanaians would improve, and it looks like things are just the same. Yes, the policies are not benefiting those at the grassroots. Maybe it looks like it's just benefiting a group of people. Yes.
There's free SHS, for example. We always talk about planting for food and jobs and all that. I'm sure that you've heard of them being talked either on TV, on radio, or also by the politicians. So it should rhyme with you.
I'm not benefiting from free SHS. If it's in relation to me, then I'm not benefiting. But that is also benefiting some people. Yes. So.
But
the economy, I don't know whether it has to be. See, the government should have to know what to do about it for us, and it's not good. It's not good at all. The economy is not good at all.
When the ordinary Ghanaian says that the economy is not good, what do you people mean exactly?
Things are not going on well, and even the estimates have come, but still we haven't seen anything.
We as a trade union, or me personally as a trade unionist, I can judge by saying that one, the NAPCO program, that is the employment, the avenue for employment for school leavers and especially the youth. This is the area touches our trade union movement. Yes. And secondly, seeing the other area, especially...
Well, they have the free SHA, they also have the planting for food and jobs and all that.
From my point of view, is doing well. Is doing well. Although something seems to us, all Ghanaian citizens, everything seems to us very, very difficult.
I don't understand. What do you mean by things are difficult?
Difficult in such a way that we cannot buy, we cannot sell.
Well, so let's speak now to economist Professor Godfrey Bokping on this. Thanks for your time this morning. So the Vice President is convinced everything is on course, but a cross-section of the public does not think so. How do you explain this disconnect?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished listeners. So we have to look at it from two angles. One, in terms of the direction of the economy, and when you look at their performance in terms of the direction of the economy, then one can objectively conclude that government is on course, that it's made some progress in terms of the macroeconomic variables or indicators when it comes to maybe GDP, when it comes to inflation, when it comes to interest rate that is also trending downwards, when it comes to exchange rate. Of course, we have seen some volatility in the market. So broadly, in terms of the direction the economy has taken, then we can conclude with them that as a country, we have made some progress. Then you can also look at the sentiment of ordinary Ghanaians, where the effect of these macro-level gains largely have not translated to the micro to some extent, and then maybe the individual level. So those who are complaining, they also have a point. But can we ask for more within this short period of time? Maybe no. Maybe what we need to do as a country is to be able to build on the gains that we have made. Because what Ghanaians are asking for is not something that can be delivered within 3 years or 4 years, I think. Because when you look at the development literature and other countries that have made it, whether you look at Singapore or even when you look at Rwanda, which we seem to be talking about these days, I mean, when you take Kagame alone, he's been there maybe since early 2000. There is a certain sense that consistency is a requirement for broader economic gains to benefit low and moderate income earners and those who are not even in the formal employment or even the informal sector. So my understanding is that we've made some progress as a country, and I think when you look at the indicators, you have to be exceptionally unique to think that we are going backwards at the macro level. But we are also not there yet. And I believe that government, honestly, would also have to admit that in the face of the progress that they have made, there is still a lot that has to be done. Then you want to, because even though we are talking about these things, when you look at certain developments in the economy, especially in the financial sector, and the financial sector bailout, even though the cleanup is welcoming news, even though government has made some progress, of course, it has been loaded onto the public debt stock, there is still a lot of frictions in the financial sector in terms of liquidity flow.
Right.
People still have challenges accessing their own funds. They are not even asking for support from government. Accessing their own funds has become difficult. And because money is not going round, which is really the essence of money, money is held up. And because of that, it's affecting transaction flow. And that is why the market women and the market men and the middlemen and the middle women perhaps are concerned about low economic activity because of the frictions in the financial sector. So I believe that is something that government will have to pay more attention to in those areas to make sure that people, even with a bridge bank, created consolidated bank, and the others, people readily can access their funds and use it the way that they want to use it, because that is the essence of economic progress.
So you're saying that we shouldn't expect to feel the impact of the economic progress we have experienced so far. We should wait till at least 3 or 4 years to come?
No, I'm not putting a timeline to it that we need 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more years. It doesn't matter which party is in power. I think a certain consistency is important for all of us, that the gains that we have made collectively, we build upon those gains. Whoever is in power from 2020, we should be able to, we don't need to see a certain reverse in that sense, and particularly so because of the 2020 elections.
And speak of 2020 elections, we normally say it's an election year, and we are always worried about election year spending. And what the cloud over the government right now, and I guess the biggest headache right now, is the city's performance. What's your outlook for 2020?
I think that if you examine the performance of the city over the last 10, 15 years, this has been the manner of life for the city. Towards the end of the year, the city comes under pressure. Of course, we are seeing a bit of a person in terms of the magnitude. But I believe that the situation is not out of control. I think that things will stabilize to some extent, and stability doesn't mean that the city will remain the same. Of course, there are external factors which also feed on negative news from the market, from the country, which sometimes becomes difficult to control. So a certain level of depreciation is to be expected. That is how I see it. It is beyond a certain point, then we are all concerned because this is a small open economy that is heavily import dependent and with excessive foreign dominance. So we all know that towards the end of the year, going into the first quarter of 2020, like we are tapping in the time past, the CD normally lose its ground against the major trading currency. And usually the benchmark has been the dollar to some extent. So, but it's not that precarious because we've got a considerable level of international reserves. But I am not expecting the central bank to do market interventions at this stage because it may not be that effective. I mean, because the timing is important and then the amount is also important. I believe that that is how we have to look at it. And it's also about how the 2020 election is going to be conducted as it intensifies. Of course, it started a while ago. That is how I see it. So,
if you are managing the economy, what's going to be some of the measures you'd put in place?
I think that so far, I do not expect something extraordinary from now to let's say middle of next year until the budget review or something, because the measures have been announced in the budget and economic policy. It's more about keeping to those measures, especially for foreign investors. Fiscal discipline is important for them. So if government is able to keep to the measures that they have put in place in terms of the fiscal discipline, in terms of the revenue mobilization measures, expenditure restraint issues, and they don't bow to public pressure, because as the election fever builds up, sometimes government yields to the public pressure, and we tend to do all kinds of off-budget expenditures. And once you do that, you are signaling policy incredibility to the investing community, and they can punish you. And we are vulnerable to the extent that if you look at the public debt stock, the composition, the commercial component is increasing. A good number of them are in the hands of foreign investors. And with them, they react to negative news. And a good way to protect themselves from any uncertainty will be to exit. And when they are exiting, that has implications for the stability of the city.
All right. Thanks for your thoughts this morning. That was economist Professor Godfrey Bokping on the Vice President's speech at the MPP rally Sunday, touting the economic achievements of government.